Thank you for joining us in our second meeting in August. Before we begin, we do have a couple of proclamations to do tonight. So we'll take care of that first. Yes.
On July 27th this summer, Officer Martin was on patrol on beach patrol when he observed a woman floundering in the water. He went in the water to rescue her and realized she was attempting to commit suicide. She was fighting him, trying to go out further into the water. He was able to take control of her until Officer Filo arrived, and between the two of them, they were able to extract her from the water, bring in emergency services, medical services, have her transported to an area hospital where she received psychiatric assistance. Without the victim's actions of Officer Martin and Filo, this woman surely would have drowned in that incident. So we're here to recognize Officer Martin for his quick thinking and heroic actions, going to water at night and rescuing this woman.
Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the council of the city of Long Beach on Tuesday, August 21st, 2018 at 7 p.m. So roll call, Councilmember Bendel.
Present.
Councilmember Mandel is absent. Councilmember Moore.
Here.
Vice President Diamond.
Here.
President Aramo.
Here.
Let the record indicate the presence of acting city manager Michael Taglia and Corporation Council Robert N. Stacy. We'll now salute to the flag.
Councilman Bendel, would you lead us?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, again, thank you all for joining us this evening. And I guess we'll get right to it with the city manager update.
As the medical waste was discovered along the shores of Barrier Island, the DEC asked the Army Corps to shut down their dredge on Sunday afternoon to investigate whether the waste was coming from the Wall area. The pipeline was evaluated and no waste was found. The DEC was planning to give the Corps the okay to restart dredging Sunday evening, but a seal on the pump was damaged, which shut it down, which needs to be fixed in harbor. Dredging is expected to continue tomorrow at the very latest by the end of the week. The DEC is investigating the matter and will continue to do so, but they do not believe it's coming from the Wall area. Summer concerts due to construction, please note that all remaining summer concerts will be performed at Edwards Boulevard. Find the city's free summer concert guide series scheduled at longbeachny.gov/beach. Thanks again to PSE&G Long Island, South National Community Hospital, and Pullman's Auto Body for their sponsorship. Senior Appreciation Day was today at the MLK to celebrate the contribution of the lives of seniors in Long Beach. We held an event combining the participants of the senior program at the MLK and Magnolia Senior Center. Over 100 seniors participated in the luncheon, Zumba dance class, and raffle. It really was a magnificent event, and it was a true cross-section of the city. Historical Society Arts and Crafts Fair will be held this Saturday and Sunday, August 25th and 26th. Over 200 craft and food vendors will line the boardwalk from Long Beach Boulevard to Edwards Boulevard from 10 to 6. Family Fun in the Park, on weekdays through the end of August. The rec is continuing to run its Family Fun in the Park program. That's a program where they bring a different activity each day to a different park. For more details, visit palmbeachny.gov/rec. Robbie Day 2018, the city is collecting school supplies for the Robbie B. Laws Foundation for asthma awareness from August 27th to 31st in the lobby of City Hall and the Recreation Center, and we'll accept items that you submit on Robbie's Day, September 3rd, at the MLK Center. So feel free to please bring in school supplies for the children. This month is Water Quality Month. We are continuing to share stories and information about our most precious resource. Please join us on the Facebook page throughout the rest of the month to learn more about our waters and what you can do to help protect our bay, ocean, and groundwater. For water conservation info and tips, visit palmbeachny.gov/public works. The actual fair this month is September. We encourage you to join us in preparing for this year's themes. Make and practice your emergency plan. Learn a life-saving skill. You will find the event flyer at the front of the room. More information as well as preparedness tips can be found at palmbeachny.gov/LB-ready. We hope to have a safe closeout of another summer season. We would like to remind everyone to swim only when lifeguards are on duty. For information regarding beach park, including safety tips, please visit palmbeachny.gov/beach. As we will not be meeting next until September, I wish everyone a happy, healthy, and safe Labor Day weekend. I'd also like to take a moment to thank the Port City's hardworking employees, management, and community together working alike.
Thank you, Commissioner Taggy.
President Rao, I'd like to make a motion to table the public hearing.
I'll second that motion.
And just for clarification, this is the public hearing ordinance to amend the code of the city of Long Beach with regard to special events.
Okay, motion to table the public hearing. Councilmember Bendo?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Vice President Dyer?
Yes.
President Aramo?
Yes.
Public hearing has been tabled. On to the regular calendar. Item 1 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a commercial lease for the operation of the tennis center at Marlboro Boulevard and Reynolds Channel with the most responsible bidder.
Point of order. I'd like to know why. Why is it being done?
We're not prepared to speak on it yet. We haven't had proper meetings, and we don't have all the documentation that we need. So that's why it's not rescheduled also.
With all due respect, we have 2 events coming up in the next 6 weeks, and there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yes, this item, we're discussing this item. I don't know if you want to come up with a welfare, maybe that's a better time because we've moved on to this item. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry we brought you all here tonight to speak on this item and then tabled it. I do apologize. So for the item for the tennis, any questions from the council?
I'd like to propose an amendment to the resolution, the next to last paragraph, where it says with an option for the city manager to renew for an additional 5-year term. I'd like to add after term with city council approval.
I second that motion.
Okay, going to amend item 1, Councilmember Bendo?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Vice President Dyer?
Yes.
President Aramo?
Yes. Any questions from the council in regard to this commercial lease for the tennis center? Seeing none, any questions or comments from the public with regards to tennis? Seeing no hands. I'm sorry, sir. Come on up.
Thank you.
Roy Edison, Wade Street, Long Beach. Just a couple of questions about this. How big is that property?
I don't have the acreage.
What's the property worth?
Fair market value is reflected, sorry. The fair market value is reflected in the RFP response.
I'm sorry. I don't see it.
The RFP.
No, it's not here in the agenda. What's it worth?
The property itself is what a reasonable bidder would bid on, and that's what we got.
No, the property, I'm asking what the property is worth. not what somebody,
What the appraisal is, I have no idea. We have
no idea. So we're,
We haven't conducted an appraisal.
okay, it's on the exempt roads, I mean, it's not, it's part of city property.
It is city property.
Yes, yes. So you have no idea what the city property is worth?
We have not appraised it.
Any idea? I mean,
I think I've asked Nancy.
okay, so you're renting it out, but you have no idea you're renting it out for $102,000 a year, and you have no idea what it's worth.
We did not conduct an appraisal.
But how's that good business sense?
Well, Mr. Lester, you are aware of the restricted covenant on the land, right?
No, I don't know.
There is one.
And that is,
It has to be used for a public purpose.
and is this a public purpose though?
Tennis center, absolutely.
But isn't it privately owned?
No, it's owned by the city.
I mean, privately run. They're charging $60 an hour for the court.
A private tenant on the property, correct?
Right, and do the city people get to use it for free?
Can you ask all your questions at once, Mr. Lester?
No, because I don't know what the answers are. You tell me what the answers are ahead of time, and I'll ask all my questions.
Well, I'm done.
So you're not gonna answer any more about
No,
this?
just finish all your questions.
Well, I'm trying to determine if this is a good deal for the city. And you don't know what it's worth?
Excuse me, Mr. Lester, if I could. The process is to put out an RFP. Right, based on that process, anyone can come down, look at the property and make a bid. This bid was $25,000 more than the closest bid to it. That's what determines the property. The tennis center, regardless of what it makes, this is what people, the market was willing to pay for it. The second point is that if we didn't take that bid, we don't have the city staff to run the facility, so we would have to close it down, and then we would displace all those people that use that facility. So in the interest of transparency, we did an RFP, we received 2 bids, we took the higher of the 2 bids, in the best financial interest of the city, and we moved forward.
Michael, what I'm trying to determine though, it's the same person that's been running it all along, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, the same person. So basically, they're making money, and I'm not saying they shouldn't make money, they're making money off of city property, which we have no idea what the property's worth, except what it's worth as a private tennis center. And I'm just curious how that benefits the people of the city of Long Beach. They have to pay full price when they use it, don't they?
I don't know the tennis structure.
It's $60 an hour for the court in peak hours. You guys don't know? It was, on the website, it's 60. Yeah, off peak is different than peak. The peak, but it just means it doesn't benefit the people of the city of Long Beach, except that we're getting money. And I don't know what the property's worth. Now, that might, sometimes when on the empty land, you get tax money that's worth more than that, like the super fund, stuff like that. I have no idea what this property is worth. I have no idea if this is the best use of the property for the city. And it doesn't seem it benefits the people of the city of Long Beach in any way. They're paying full freight for this. But no answers. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or comments from the public? Sure, Ms. Hession. Please state your name and address for the record.
Eileen Hession, Long Beach. I had no intention of talking about the tennis courts tonight, but I just thought of something. Who pays for the bubble? Does the city pay for it?
No, that's,
Part of the person who rents it?
he owns it.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
No problem.
That's all.
Anyone else in regards to leasing the tennis property? No, seeing no hands, I call the next item.
Item 2 is a resolution to allow the city manager to execute a settlement agreement and release.
Yeah, one of us can start.
Many years ago, starting the last PBA contract that this affects was a contract, from July 1, 2003, that expired on June 30, 2008. Subsequently, there was interest arbitration where an award was made in 2013 that covered from 2008 through 2014. During this time, during a period of this time, one of the employees was a sergeant who was entitled to retroactive and was left out of the retroactive pay that was awarded to all of the other members of the bargaining unit. This is a correction of that omission for the period that he was a sergeant. He's currently a lieutenant, so we didn't get a full retro. We only got a retro for the period that he was actively a sergeant.
Yeah, I just want to also add to that, that this is one of the most confusing and nebulous labor situations imaginable, and it's unfortunate that this lieutenant or that sergeant it seemed to be just an administrative oversight. But it's good that the city is making the correction now, rectifying the error, and before the exact complaint that was submitted to me gets filed.
Any questions or comments from the council?
Okay, so based on the information that you just shared, I'm still trying to get clarification. You're saying that this one person is now going to be awarded as a result of the resolution as presented. So is there a precedent for that we would award one person and not award others who are part of the same rank?
The award took place already. It took place in 2013 when the arbitrator awarded retroactive pay increases. That happened already. There's whatever reason, just because of the confusion surrounding the decertification of the PBA, the lieutenants in 2013. At the same time, the interest arbitration was taking place. This particular employee did not get paid, but he's been awarded it already, he just hadn't paid.
So everyone else is made whole.
So everyone.
So that's what it said, so there's no other sergeants we missed that will be coming forward?
Correct, this is it.
Okay, then let me just follow up. So this covered him up through April 12th of 13, I guess, when he became part of the Community Officers Association. It doesn't look like this covers the gap from when he went from sergeant to lieutenant. Is that?
No, it covers to, I think, December 20, 2012, that's when he got promoted to lieutenant.
That's correct.
Right, so the time from when he was lieutenant till he became part of commanding officers, does this cover that as well?
No, it doesn't. This is
Okay,
just-
so it's just
Yeah.
the period as sergeant.
Right.
Okay, so that's, I guess, what I don't understand. So why, we're looking at two different things. So we're looking at up to 2013, his role as a sergeant, and then we're not applying this to his role as a lieutenant? Wouldn't that be unfair? I don't understand.
No, very basically, we're applying this to December 28th, 2012, which is when he got promoted to lieutenant. From December 20th, he's now represented by the Community Officers Association. Until they negotiate their contract, there's nothing applicable to him, right, or to any lieutenants. Like the other lieutenants that were serving since 2008, have nothing.
So in other words, we're not recognizing him in any way as a member of the COA. We're only recognizing him for his service up to the point where he served as a sergeant.
Right, that's all the arbitrator awarded. That's why.
And this has been agreed upon with the officer and the PBA
No, because of the employee and his private attorney.
and his private attorney.
Is this aligned with what the arbitrator awarded?
Yes.
I'm just asking because it's about $15,000 a year, which.
Yeah.
Include overtime.
My understanding it includes wages, holidays, and longevity, night differential.
All the overtime.
You know, the typical
All
stuff.
the
Yeah,
action.
correct.
Anything else from the council? No. Any,
I'll come back.
come back? Okay. Any questions or comments from the public? Lieutenant Dodge.
Good afternoon, Bill Dodd, President, Long Beach COA.
Thank
Is it not a fact that there are other people that are now lieutenants who were sergeants during that period that would be covered? That's the first question. And second, isn't it also a fact that a lieutenant was covered completely by the CBA initiated by the PBA?
I think that's all the subject of litigation, so I'm going to advise the council to refrain from their concerns.
They can refrain from that, so I'll go back to my first question. Is it not a fact that there were other people that were sergeants during the period of the CBA that became lieutenants after the commencement of that that should have been included in this award you're doing today?
I'm not gonna comment on any of that because it's back to the litigation.
There's litigation on that matter.
No, it's ancillary to the litigation, so I'm not gonna comment on it.
Then I'll leave it with, I was also a sergeant during that period of time. I have no litigation, and I was part of that. So the statement, the initial statement that there were no other sergeants included in that was not a correct statement. That's all. Thank you.
Can we have clarification on that, if you can cover that without any liability, because I'm hearing now that one lieutenant is covered, one is not, and this doesn't speak to that.
I don't believe that was that category, that's.
So this doesn't apply to this at all.
I don't know what this and this represent, but I'm not sure I'm following.
So the statement that was just made, the first part of the statement, not the second part of the statement, it doesn't apply to this at all, because that's what I asked before. Is there a precedent then to give to one person and not give to another? Are we creating a precedent by going ahead and moving forward with this resolution?
When we were asked before, I believe the question was, that everyone did the whole, and my answer to that question was, at this stage, yes.
Any other questions or comments from the public? Yes, sir, come on up. Please state your name and address for the record.
Jordan Farkas, West Olive Street. On the bottom of this, it's written, whereas Virginia, the city, and the respective council, after meeting, participating in extensive settlement negotiations, have determined that everyone's best interest is best served by resolution of the following disputes with prejudice. Why with prejudice?
Right, it's a legal term of art, meaning that it can't be brought in. It settles it with finality.
Okay, I'm just saying, you know where I'm coming from, and Commissioner Packard, I've lived in Long Beach 24 years. I remember Christine going up and down the beach constantly, kicking people out of the waters without lifeguards, when seeing people in distress, dragging them out, just pulling them out, participating in rescues. And after Hurricane Sandy, he was going around knocking on doors in the middle of the night, dropping up cases of water, asking people if there's anything they needed. And he's a top cop. I mean, this really should be resolved. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to make it clear, we're not questioning Mr. Creedon's ability. We thank him for all of his service, and the same that we support all of our officers. My question is really just based on your legal expertise. Are we opening up ourselves to additional liabilities by approving this resolution?
Oh, no, that's your question. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else in the public? Yes, Ms. Fiore. Name and address for the record.
Just a quick question, Dean Fiore, Long Beach, New York. I understand what you're asking, Anissa, but I don't think we have a determination of how many other people are truly affected by this. And from what I'm hearing, there is a number of commanding officers, or a number of officers that we are going to be looking at this going forward. Have we done any planning? I know we put aside some money for separation agreements. Was this planned as part of our separation agreements, or is this in addition to the separation
This
agreements?
has nothing to do with separation agreements at all, and.
Or litigation?
And no, as a matter of fact, nobody else, I've been trying, I don't know how I can possibly say it more clearly, nobody else is affected aside from.
Nobody else has made it come forward that we know of, and I think the concern is, if I'm listening to our CO, our lieutenant, God, it sounds like we're gonna see this again.
There's one lieutenant who we are involved in litigation with, and that's about an issue pertaining to correction. And that's why I'm not prepared to answer any questions.
Okay,
That's
so
not
there is a
correct.
possibility, I guess.
But he won't
It
be.
appears to be there's a possibility.
That's in court right now, and the judge will determine that. However, this item has, and that other, they're mutually exclusive, one has nothing to do with the other.
I'm not saying Officer Brady shouldn't get paid, I think.
I know, I
We all
understand. I
women
get it.
should
I
get
get
paid,
it.
rightfully so. But I think as residents and as our councils, we should be very alert to the fact that there's more coming like this. And I think
There's,
I think we're being
There's
Doris,
one,
no.
there is one, again, there is one lieutenant who's involved in litigation over retroactive pay, it's an increased issue. But that lieutenant has nothing to do.
I
with this.
understand.
And it's one person.
Maybe that's two.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Comment or question on this item? Seeing no hands, anything else from the council? No? No. Seeing no hands, I'll call the next item.
Okay, item 3 is a resolution authorizing publication for hearing of ordinance amending code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach regarding housing and property rehabilitation and conservation code, mortgage and default registry. This item is publication only, and hearing will be held September 4th at 7 p.m. Item 4 has been added by unanimous consent. Item 4 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for emergency sanitary sewer replacement at or near the intersection of East Park Avenue and Roosevelt Boulevard from the lowest responsible bidder.
Commissioner Randall, can you speak to this item? And I know we got bids on replacement or fixing, if you could just address that as well. I think it's helpful to understand what we're doing.
On this past Friday, our sewer department was notified of a road collapse at the intersection of East Park and Roosevelt. When we got there, we determined that the 30-inch line that takes in all the waste from Lido, the entire east end of Long Beach, and then takes that waste to the lift station at Roosevelt in the wall, probably developed some crown corrosion and collapse. This is a significant amount of waste flow. It is flowing, but did leave quite a crater in the road, so we've shut down the road to 2 lanes. Friday afternoon, Deputy Commissioner came back here, put together a specification, emergency specification for the repair or the replacement of that sewer line. We took bids in at 11 o'clock today. We have sent it out to 4 contractors. 1 did not bid. 1 asked to just do time and materials, and the other 2 each put in a proposal for repair or replace. When we looked at both options, the contractor put in for repair and replace, put in the same number, because his feeling was that once we open this up, we're not really going to know what we have. And we really, once we open it up, we needed to replace it to avoid other collapses. And there will be an awful lot of bypass pumping going on, so you want to minimize that. So his feeling was he did the same amount, the $361,500 or $367,500 to replace it. Either way, he would do it as a repair. That was less than half the price of replacement for the other contractor. The other contractor's proposal for repair was about $270,000. But when we looked at the repair, we were concerned that, we might be back visiting this again in 5 or 10 years. So we felt based on the slight difference in the cost of the project, we would recommend a replacement, and that pipe should be good for another 75 to 100 years.
Thank you. Should this vote pass, when would the work commence? How long would it take?
The work would commence on Monday and take about a week. And the reason for the commencement on Monday would be to get all the bypass pumps in here, shoring, markouts for the road, because there is telephone up there, there's water main, there's several other sewer mains that run in the area. So it's quite a busy intersection, and it will take about, 1 week to finish.
Once the shoring goes in and the area is stable, will we still have to close down 2 lanes? I understand why we're closing 2 lanes.
We will have to close down 2 lanes because the line runs on an angle from about the edge of the middle lane on the north side to almost the curb line on the south side.
Of course it does.
Nothing's ever easy.
Any other questions from the council?
Are they gonna do any inspection or scoping on either side of the replacement? I mean, I know we may not want to know the answer there, but.
We already replaced one section of that pipe in the past. I'm not sure, I wasn't here, but I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago. We did a similar thing where we replaced it. What happens is, over years, they put in concrete pipe or RCP or asbestos cement piping, as opposed to clay piping because it was easier because it had longer lengths. But what happens with cement piping is sewer mains don't flow full, they flow half full. And you get moisture on the crown of the pipe, the top part of the pipe. And then you get hydrogen sulfide in the wastewater that's going through the sewer lines. That joins with the moisture and you get sulfuric acid, and the acid starts to wear away the pipe. So what happens after a while, the crown corrodes away, and now you have earth coming into the pipe. We have, as we replace lines, a good indication that there's a lot of that out there is that we do have a lot of infiltration of groundwater into the wastewater system. But with the main replacements we've been doing in a lot of the road reconstruction over the years, our daily wastewater load has gone from about 4.8 million gallons a day down to about 4.2. So we're making progress, and this will be one more spot where we'll eliminate groundwater flowing into the system.
If I may, I'm just gonna ask that once, assuming this passes, that once we have the firm schedule as to when the repairs and the work will take place on the road closure, we have it posted. I'm just gonna ask the city manager to ensure that it's posted on the city's website so that the residents are aware of the work schedule and how long it will take and exactly what's gonna happen.
Right, and we're very fortunate that both contractors that proposed are very excellent contractors. Both have done work for us in the past, and both are very responsive to our needs, so.
Thank you.
Anything else from the council? Any questions or comments from the public regarding the emergency sewer main break and repair and replacement? Okay, seeing no hands.
On to the voting. Item 1 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a commercial lease for the operation of the tennis center at Monroe Boulevard and Reynolds Channel with the most responsible bidder. Who wishes to move the adoption of this item as amended?
I will.
Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Just for Mr. Lester's benefit, in case you didn't notice, the tennis center employs about 20 people. So that is one benefit it does provide to the city, in addition to the rent that they pay. So with that, I vote yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Yes.
President Obama.
Yes.
Item 2 is a resolution to allow the city to execute a settlement agreement and release. Who's for the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Yes.
President Obama.
Yes.
Item 3 is a resolution authorizing publication for hearing of an ordinance amending code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach regarding housing and property rehabilitation and conservation code, mortgage and default registry. Who's for the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Yes.
President Obama.
Yes.
Item 4 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for emergency sanitary sewer replacement at or near the intersection of East Park Avenue and Roosevelt Boulevard in the lowest responsible bidder. Introduce for the adoption of this item.
I will.
Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Before I vote, I just want to thank the commissioner and the deputy commissioner for getting this together and the acting city manager for putting this together so quickly. I know it's been a busy weekend, ensuring that we had the bids and everything that went out and everything was kind of put together for us so quickly. So I appreciate it, and with that, I vote yes.
President Obama.
And also thank all the city's workforce that went out there and took care of the situation before it got too bad. So I vote yes.
We make a motion to close the meeting.
I will.
Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Diamond.
Yes.
President Obama.
Yes. Okay. Okay, and now we enter our visitor welfare section. As everyone knows, it's 3 minutes of uninterrupted time. We ask everyone to maintain decorum and just show respect. So I thank you in advance for that. And first card is Miss Judy Biden.
Well, I can't speak on the resolution that you tabled, but that's okay. Although I do want to note that I'm postponing it without a date. We do have several festivals that are on board that will have the regulation. I'm not even talking fees, just even some common sense ground rules, so to note that. But the other thing I came down, we talked about and you graciously put on the city website all the applications with intent to apply for an SLA license. As long as I've been doing this, you learn something new every day. When you, as a council or as a city government, do not comment on that to the SLA, they take it as your approval. So you need to know that because in 2003, we had 79 places where you could purchase alcohol in the city of Long Beach. In 2018, we had 97. So if you weigh in and want to weigh in on alcohol density, which is well researched and known to be a big problem and connected directly to the amount of underage drinking we have in the community, I would urge you to be cognizant of that. It's not any specific business. I understand businesses need to do business, but at the very same time, there has to be some balance because we have a generation of kids who are drinking and smoking marijuana at 20% above the state and county averages. So I wasn't aware that your lack of a responsibility, the needed one, is perceived by the state liquor authority as approval. So consider that, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stein. Mindy Delver. Good evening.
Good evening. How is everybody? I wanted to talk about two different topics this evening. The first one is about a handicap spot that is on Lincoln Avenue, closer to the boardwalk. It is in the middle of the spots as opposed to being on the tail end of the spots. And it is not ADA compliant at all. And it's extremely difficult to get in and out when you're trying to be wedged in between all of the other spots. So I took a picture of it and meant to email it to you guys, but I forgot. So I will definitely do that this evening. But the majority of all the other streets have it at the tail end, so that it's easier to get in and out. So it's ADA compliant. I don't understand why this one is in the middle and should not be. And the majority of all the other streets should be. I mean, I don't understand why all the streets are not regulated. It doesn't make any sense. I think that every street should be regulated. There should be two on each end. Some streets do and some streets don't. It just doesn't make any sense and there's no rhyme or reason to it. The second thing I wanted to discuss is on New York Surf Week, it was really, really fabulous to have the Moby mats. And I just have to share a story with you. I had a very, very extremely painful day. And I actually got to go to the water's edge. And the reason why was because there were mats. I went on National and I got under the tunnel, and there was a mat, and there was another mat, and there was another mat, and there was another mat. And I got to put my feet in the water's edge. And I actually thought to myself, how fabulous would it be, you guys, if there was one beach that had that next year. And maybe you guys rotated it. It would be so to think that there are people on this island, Barrier Island, that could just go to that beach and experience what I experienced because it was fabulous for me. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
We will definitely look into what's going on. I think with that handicap spot, that doesn't seem to make sense. And thank you for sharing your story about Surf Creek. Ms. Liz Treston. Yes. Good evening, Ms. Treston.
Liz Preston, Long Beach. Just to follow up the Lincoln parking space, I brought it up 3 years ago, so TikTok. I'd also like to talk about the communication in regards to this past weekend with the beach closures everywhere except for Long Beach, that we did not receive any communication until after the beach closed at 7 p.m. on the city's Facebook and on the city's website. To follow up on the, again, which I bring up, I think, almost every time I come up here about the communication and the lack of communication between the city and its residents is I went to look to find a previous meeting on the archived videos, and I don't know if that can answer or Mr. Shepherd is not here. They're gone.
I can actually answer.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. No, the provider that we were using, Ustream, changed their format and went to a paid service, and as a result of that, they wiped out all of our videos.
So,
We have since changed to we now have a YouTube channel that is up, that we are streaming. We're actually streaming on it right now.
but
And I
there's
don't think we'll have that problem going forward.
now that we are streaming on YouTube, since no one knows we're streaming on YouTube except for now, do we have a buzzword on YouTube? Is it, how do people search?
Well,
It's not on the website, I can say that.
there should be the link in the news in our city before each meeting that has a link that goes straight to the channel.
For those who are.
LongBeachNY.gov, right on the front page, there should be a link in the news in our city. Usually before each meeting, there's a link that says, meeting video for tonight's meeting.
So how long has that been in effect?
They've been doing it that way for several years.
No, not the YouTube part,
Oh, I'm sorry, what's the link on the website?
no, that I know, that they're on. How do people know that the city is changing the free service at Ustream, which was horrendous, to YouTube, which is somewhat better? When did the switch happen? Am I making?
I'm not sure when the switch happened. I'm not sure when the switch happened, but the link that, like I said, the link that's right on the homepage does go to the YouTube channel, and I believe there is a link on the city council page, there's longbeachny.gov/council meetings, which has all the agendas, all the proceedings, and that's where we have the links for the videos. I believe there's a link in there also for the YouTube channel. We'll be adding a YouTube icon to the website shortly.
But am I making myself, again, clear that there seems to be a lack of communication between the communication department and the rest of the city? Yes or no? I mean, when the beach is closed, I'm assuming you all are on social media.
Yes.
Missy Miller was there, Todd was there, Todd was there, Laura Kern was there, and we don't live in a bubble that something should not have come from the city, that should come from OEM, should have come from the police department. that our beaches were okay.
Yeah, and there was a communication going around between the commissioner and the city council and beach maintenance, and I think chief of lifeguards was on there, and it was deemed that our beaches were fine and safe, and then it would be posted on the website as such.
But that was at 7 PM, not during the beach time when things were happening.
I can't speak to that. The conversations we had were definitely earlier in the day, and it should have been posted, and I'm under the assumption that it was. So,
So can someone address the slow response or getting the information out to our residents through social media? I think that's the question, is what is the reason for the slow response? I think President Robbins made clear we were unaware of that, but we still, the residents have the right to know what happened in the situation so that this can be rectified, and that this should not happen again. Because clearly everyone was, there was a lot of information out there, and it was the only city outside of obviously we do all the other places that they were constantly communicating and sending information to their people, and we were the only city, and we are the greatest city, that we could not even send out a message to inform our residents about something that was so critical with respect to the safety of their families and their children. I think that's what the real question is. And what can we do now to make sure that this doesn't happen again? Thank you.
our conversation was early in the morning, or in the afternoon, and I assume
That's a problem. But again,
I understand.
communication needs to be the department head, administration, and your public relations. Thank you. Thank you, David.
Ms. Kathleen O'Leary.
Good evening. Kathleen O'Leary, Long Beach. I'd like to talk about two financial subjects. The first one is the independent audit. I would like to join Representative Kaminsky in requesting an independent audit. And I think there was a question about the money, what money would we use to pay for this? Instead of letting the other gentleman do it who's endorsed the previous city manager. Mr. Lester found $500,000 in the approved budget, which is not going for Social Security. So I believe there's $500,000 free that could pay for an independent audit. My second point has to do with the FEMA funds that we received. I don't really understand. We got $4.4 million from the state, but I don't understand where is it now, okay? I read the Herald article. I don't know what a,
RAND,
I'm sorry?
revenue anticipation note.
Yeah, that's it, the revenue. I don't understand where's the money today is what I'm asking. And do we have it to spend, or was it spent, or is it paid off something?
We don't have it to spend, it's in a separate account to pay off the revenue when it comes due. The RAND is a revenue anticipation note, it's sort of like a bond, but it's set to a specific revenue that you're anticipating, a revenue anticipation note.
Okay.
So once that comes due, I think it's a year, once that comes due, that money automatically pays it. The only way that money can be spent, I believe, is if council approves to spend that money on something else. Is that correct?
Yeah, right now it is correct, it's in a segregated account, we actually can't repay early.
Okay.
Right.
And
So
when
it's for what we borrow, for the you again. So
Okay. So the interest rate is set and it's all just a wash, basically?
we do pay, well, we pay a little bit of interest rate on it, but it is, from my understanding, it is kind of low because it is revenue that's certainly anticipated.
Okay. And when the state owes us another 3.2 million, is the same thing gonna happen with that money? We said earlier, the reason we raised the taxes over 8% was that we were waiting for 7.6 million, and we got 4.4 million. So there's 3.2 million coming to the city. And is there a revenue anticipation bond already set up that we need to pay with this money?
No.
So this would be money that's free to pay back other debts, is that right?
No, none of this money is free. All this money has already been spent and it's reimbursements. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that money is going to go to a payment we're going to make in October on a separate fund.
A revenue bond or?
A prior borrow bond.
Okay, all right. So you're paying down debt with it. Okay, I get it. Let me just see. There was one other thing I wanted to say about the independent audit. I noticed that you're holding off on instituting the use it or lose it policy. And I'm wondering, why are we waiting for the end of the Annapolis audit to do that? I see no reason why we couldn't institute that before the audit is complete.
I don't know what the use it or lose it policy is.
Well, I came from Merrill Lynch, so that's the policy, that's what you went.
Oh, for vacation and time and stuff.
Vacation and your.
Yeah, so 90 some odd percent of the employees of the city are covered by a collective bargaining agreement. So 99%, I'm sorry, of our employees. And much like almost all municipalities, they have a clause in their collective bargaining agreement, and I would enjoy to a part where they get to thank their time.
So we're talking about the 1% of exempt people that we're going to institute use it or lose it with them? Is that what we were talking about before?
That would require a code change. I don't know that we instituted
Well, previously we talked about not setting ourselves up again to have to make these, to borrow money and make these gigantic payments.
we're still, yeah, the only way to avoid that is to put the money away in advance. There's no way to stop, because 99% of them are for, it's a very minuscule amount that are from the exempt staff. 99% of the police officers, firemen, and all the CSTA workers.
And is there any chance of renegotiating that with them?
We always try, but I couldn't imagine anyone negotiating that way. But your time is up, so thank you.
I will say one thing, for the business on Wall Street, they instituted this in the 90s.
Yep.
We're way behind the times.
Yes, all municipalities. Ms. Eileen Hession.
Eileen Hession, Long Beach. I'm happy to follow Ms. O'Leary because I'm sort of thinking about the independent audit too. We have so much going on in the city, and I'm afraid we might have a short memory. There's that 250,000 donation to the LDC, there are lawsuits, we're worried about overdevelopment and syringes. The beach revenues, I understand, are looking not so good this year. I just want to make a statement about all that. Last week, on August 2nd, Newsday had a headline. The people of Long Beach were not surprised by it. They were talking about the termination payouts in Nassau County. Nassau County has about 1.3 million people, while Long Beach has about 34,000. That's 40 times more people in Nassau, and yet the separation payouts were almost the same, 2.5 million and 2.3 million. At least in Nassau, the people who got separation pay actually separated. In Long Beach, many of the payouts were given to people still on the payroll. They got separation pay without separating. Newsday mentions that in Nassau County, many recipients were longtime employees, not necessarily so for everyone in Long Beach. Our city manager, for example, was only here for 6 years, and according to his payout, never took a day off, even those days when he was campaigning for his county job. He walked away with over $100,000, at least twice what he might have deserved, according to some calculations. The city's lawyer took home even more and took the time to tell us it was all perfectly legal and would be too difficult to repay, even if the numbers were shown to be wrong. Contract negotiations must start considering the taxpayer before we all, Nassau County and Long Beach, go broke. And we need some honest accounting too. Thank you very much. I would also say we should encourage people to take their vacation and sick days. It will make for happier and healthier workers. Thank you.
Mr. Ludo Val.
Good evening, Ludo Val. This is the third time I've been up here. I know it's a minor compared to the street collapse on Park Avenue. It's the signs, the boardwalk signs for driving. And up here, there are four signs, there are four things put up. My estimation, there have to be at least 20, 25 of them that we have. Four of them were put up in the middle of town. Now, I don't know if there's a reason for that. We don't have them anymore. Obviously, we paid money for these things the year before. Everybody's making notes, but nothing happens. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duval.
Can we have some clarification on that? It was my understanding that the signs were
They're under the bridge?
Mr. Randall?
My understanding is they were put up and we've already got one person threatened to sue us because they ran into one and cut themselves.
But we were told they were up.
Yes, I was told that they were installed. I will check first of all tomorrow and make sure.
Okay. We were told they were up. Mr. Lester.
Last meeting, August 7th, the city council voted to spend $25,000 of taxpayer money for the law firm. At that point, did you guys know what law firm we were hiring? Or LBC was hiring?
As we've discussed, Mr. Lester, it's none of the city's concern.
So you didn't know?
As we discussed, Mr. Lester, it is none of the city's concern. And there's nothing you're going to say to go into a conversation on this topic. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. It's taxpayer money and you don't want to talk about it. You spent $25,000 of taxpayers' money.
For me, as I'm trying to complete my sentence.
Go ahead.
Thank you. There's no way I'm going to risk the city's exposure simply to satiate your curiosity. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
I didn't expect you to. Believe me, I did not expect you. But I'm asking the city council. I'm asking the city council, did you know what law firm you were hiring at that time? The city entered into a stipulation regarding this. The city did. You what? Julie, what?
The resolution that we voted on, not hire an attorney, but to give the money to the LDC to do with it as they please in terms of getting their own attorney. There was no attorney in that resolution. So
Right, I know that, but they
I
had.
also was not going to engage in this discussion with you, I'm
No,
sorry.
I don't expect the city council to. You just want to spend the money, but you don't want to give any explanation. Now, it turns out, you said, when we asked you why is it at the last minute, you said, well, we didn't have meetings in July or the last part of July. But it turns out this stipulation was entered into with the LBC and the city of Long Beach on the 10th of July. So it could have been on the July 13th agenda. It could have been on the July 17th agenda. And in that stipulation, it said that it had to be answered by August 9th. And you brought that in front of the public, asking for $25,000 on August 7th. Was there any reason why it was put off that long? No, no answer.
Answer the question.
Now, it turns out that the law firm that was hired was Harris Beach. And it was, I assume it was hired back when they entered into the stipulation and put in their notice of appearance. And that stipulation, like I said, was July 10th. Now, I assume they wouldn't do it without a retainer, and I assume that that retainer was promised, even though you guys hadn't voted on it already. Now, the other thing about Harris Beach, if I remember correctly, this was the same law firm that represented Ms. Diamond and Mr. Mandel in their charge when they tried to prevent a primary, which they successfully did. And when you look at their website where they have the distributions from their campaign, Harris Beach is not paid from that. Now, I don't know if Harris Beach was paid privately, but somehow it doesn't seem right that Mr. Mandel and Ms. Diamond were voting to give the law firm that represented them money, taxpayer money, at that time, after the law firm had already represented them, without disclosing it to the public. Is there any reason why it wasn't disclosed to the public? No answer. Time's up, convenient. Thank you.
Good evening, Ms. Santana.
I don't get down.
Can you talk in the microphone?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm trying to straighten everything out in my head, so I'm going to ask. Did Mr. Tackett receive city manager's salary? That's A. B, where is the salary for city manager already budgeted for, going to, or what fund has it been put towards? And I'd like to know if you used it for personal use or favors to be done. Second question is, why was the flag sit on Kennedy Plaza last week at half-staff? For 2 days. Thank you. Okay, number 3. Why were our beaches, the only beaches kept open last week without a warning of health concerns for medical waste and other debris washing up on shore? Nickerson Beach closed, EAB closed, and Atlantic Beach closed. Till all was clear, safety first. With no actual city manager decision, it was left up to, from what I understand, the head of the lifeguards. I don't have a problem with Mr. Gillespie, I have to like him. But I don't think he was qualified to be in test water. Because of our city's financial woes, it was decided to say nothing and keep the beaches open. Dollar over health to residents and visitors. Does the beach water in Long Beach come from a different place than the water from Lido and Atlantic Beach? And storms affect the water flow, the rip tides, all of that. So it's all, as far as I know, we're all on one ocean. And the other thing is, I don't work for you. I don't hold any office of any kind. I lived for 54 years. Raised my kids here, and now my grandchildren. I have respect for those that are in office. If they earn it. Mr. Iran, you have not. You are rude to the very people who put you up there. Your sarcasm at times stinks. We need someone with a backbone that listens to the community and serves in the best interest of community. I know not everyone will be happy with the decisions made, but at least they'll be heard and treated with respect. The council is supposed to be voted in, not given a seat because family has connections. They're supposed to be residents of Long Beach, not after the fact. Personally, I don't see Dems or Republicans. I see qualification, not color, financial status, or political kisses. But that's just me. As a whole, This council needs to be torn down in its legal office as well. We now have a sitting judge that sold us out. Hats one and all. To alienate council members from info or because they don't agree is wrong. But then I guess the mighty powers of the leaders here will have their way at any cost, and past council members with big bucks or high standings will always run things from behind closed doors. Thank you.
Just for a point of order, the acting city manager does not take a salary for providing the city manager services. And he did address the medical waste in the beginning of the meeting. It was the city manager, the city council was involved with being updated as to what was going on. Mr. Gillespie, beach maintenance was out there, and the determination was made and was supposed to be posted as far as we knew that we deemed our beaches safe, and swimming was going to be available
Was the water
to our
tested?
visitors. I don't believe the water was tested.
Oops.
There is no testing. I don't know what test you're expecting.
They were, Atlantic Beach as well as Nicholson Beach wanted the qualities of the water testing. That was done.
Nassau County does that.
The ocean rejuvenates itself.
Carly Niven? Thank you. Good evening.
Carolyn Niven, Long Beach. My mother spoke on behalf of the Michelle O'Neill Foundation before the council at the June meeting. We hoped you knew what our mission is, but in case you don't, we raise funds to benefit children with cancer and special needs, and we disperse them directly to families whose children have been diagnosed with catastrophic illnesses, as well as organizations such as Make-A-Wish, Leukemia Lymphoma, and Ronald McDonald House. We don't have geographic limitations as to who we help. We are currently assisting 8 families that live right here in Long Beach, as well as many others in nearby towns and outside our state. Our fundraiser occurs every year for the past 21 years on the first Saturday after Labor Day. We have worked closely with various City of Long Beach entities and have organized our event so that it can run smoothly both for us and the city. We require a bandstand, 2 bleachers, some barricades, various sanitation services, beach maintenance services. The foundation hired security guards the night before and the evening of our event. We hired an EMT for the day for safety precautions. All other help we receive is on a voluntary basis that is designed to keep our overhead at a minimum. We've learned what works by experience, and history will show that our event has been running in a positive and trouble-free manner for 21 years. We understand that the budget deficit that needs to be filled, but I hope that when voting on how much the foundation is responsible for, it will be fair and budgeted for ahead of time, because it will impact what we are able to distribute to the families who need our help. We would also like to dispel a rumor. When people come down to the boardwalk the day of our event and see the crowds of people on the beach, they automatically think we raised $1 million. None of those people have made not all of those people have made a donation. There are a lot of their families there to enjoy the games, music, camaraderie of their neighbors and friends. Our hope is that while they're there, they purchase a raffle ticket or buy merchandise, which helps support the foundation. The hundreds of people that come into our town that day are not only witnessing our beautiful city in its best light, but spending money in our local businesses, which greatly benefits the city. We don't permit any outside vendors. It's not a political venue nor a marketing forum. It's simply a fundraiser for kids with cancer and special needs. Our magic formula: raise funds, feel good, and have fun. We hope to continue our relationship with the City of Long Beach, a relationship that has worked since our foundation was born in 1997. Michelle grew up in Long Beach, and the foundation that bears her name has grown up here too. We hope to be able to continue with the tradition of our volleyball tournament being the best day of the year, a phrase that has been coined not by me or my family, but by many of our donors and participants. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the words and the great work a day that is part of the character of what makes Long Beach so special. And on behalf of the council, I thank you. Karen Adamo.
Hello, Karen Adamo, 74 Forester Street, and I'm speaking not only as the president of Long Beach Historical Society, but a private citizen. We have some fabulous organizations in this town, and I'm not going to go into my whole spiel for the Historical Society right now, because I'm going to save it for the hearing, except to say that we definitely are thankful for all the help we've gotten from the city administration in the past. When we started out with the Historical Society Fair, which, as Commissioner Cagney reminded us, is this weekend, we started out with 40 vendors, and we built it up over 26 years, at one point before Sandy, to 180 vendors, and people really enjoy our show. Thank you. And it is our major fundraiser to pay the bills for the museum, for the city of Long Beach. This is a responsibility of our 10 to 12 board members. We must earn the money to pay our mortgage. People still think we were given this house by the city. It's not the case. We have $1,500 a month mortgage. I have all the expenses that I was going to get to you tonight, but again, I'll save it. Costs us $35,000 to $40,000 a year. No paid employees, no paid help, all volunteers. We all volunteer our time. We kill ourselves for this festival this weekend, but it helps us. It's our major fundraiser to run the Historical Society. So again, I want to thank you all for your help over the years, starting with City Manager Ed Eaton. Senior moment. So my question is, what kind of expenses are you looking at? Because this is where a lot of us have our frustration, the organizations that have these events. We don't really know what you're looking at, what it's going to cost us. We got thrown the fact that we couldn't use the city buses right before our house tours, and we had to expend $1,000, which really cut into our profits. The house tours, we don't make a lot of money. It's really for the history, to share the history of Long Beach, and people open their houses for us to come in. So to find out right before, when we already sent out our reservation cards and had reservations, we couldn't even raise our price. And I think that's part of the concern for a lot of the organizations. You can't raise the price if you don't know what your costs are going to be. You don't know what to charge. So what kind of expenses are you looking at? What kind of research are you doing? And won't each event be judged individually? I don't see how you can come up with a set cost. And real quick, I would really suggest that you think about adding some of our organizations or our groups into the community development funds or the public relations budget, because we all bring in lots and lots of people to Long Beach.
I think that after the original meeting that we had on this issue, it became very clear to, I'll speak for myself, I don't want to speak for everybody, the members of the county, that we needed to do some more investigation and kind of understand this a little bit more in depth before we could have another hearing or pass this item. A number of individuals from different groups, large and small, reached out to each of us, some of us, and brought us additional information that we all needed in order to kind of amend the item and put it back together in a way that works best for the city as well as the organizations. I don't think there's anybody on this council who questions that each of the organizations that are here or that have events throughout the city don't serve the community at large, different groups, and we appreciate that. And as Councilman Ramos said, it kind of is what Long Beach is about, these great events that take place every single year. So that is the reason that there's been this delay, is that we can make sure that we have all the information that we need and exactly understand each of them to ensure that both the city and the city's budgetary issues, as well as the organization, are taken care of. So as you noticed, when we tabled the item, we didn't even put it down for another hearing date, because we want to make sure that we take all the necessary time in order to make sure that all of those things are taken care of. So I appreciate everybody coming here. We've all, again, received some emails over the last couple of days, and we are taking it, it's a serious item, and we understand that it impacts both the city as well as the organization. So we want to make sure we have everything in place before we do it. So I
If you
appreciate
need
that.
any additional information from me, please contact me. I'll be happy to give you whatever you need.
Thank you,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Allen. Greg Schmallenberger.
Greg Schmallenberger, Long Beach. I'm here with my organization, I'm not going to go into what we do, so Carol Neal. As a person in business, as an educator, administrator, when I come to, public comes to me, such as parents, or even the public to a Board of Education meeting, if I go up there and say I'm not prepared, or I'm not organized, I'm not ready yet, do you think I would have my job very much smaller? No, I am not. I'm evaluated by the evaluation teacher system going out, okay? I understand you guys have jobs on the side as well. We do work hard for the city. We do admire what you do for us as organizations such as AUH, Michelle Neal, and so many others in this town. We do appreciate it. But we kind of have a lot in place to program. We can't just wait a month or a week. It takes about 6 months to get things organized and prepared and to run, to work with you, our volunteers, and the community. Speaking of the community, we constantly walk around this town and we get questioned by the business owners, residents of this community, people who have moved here because of our special events. So please consider them as well on your timetable, because we all want answers. Or just put it off to the side, let us know that. We appreciate your value and your time. Hopefully, we can resolve the situation. As far as one other thing on the beach, I was aware, I was in New York State this year, I do a trip this past weekend, with my father and also other members of the Nancy County Fire Association. They knew about the closing of the beaches Friday and Saturday. My dad's part of the OEM, which you're establishing here. So hopefully once that gets established, there'll be more communication. Thank you.
Bill Holtzman.
What I have, West End Mortgage. I had a whole presentation prepared, but being that we're tabling this hearing for a while, we just need clarification. The organizations didn't put this cloud up. A slide that was under the budget presentation on May 15th that said you're going to charge the major events, listed the major events, and either targeted all of that saying it was a $50,000 fee could be charged because they were bringing in $500,000. We have vendors. This is affecting business. Vendors, the West End, restaurants, they have to hire entertainment. We can't do this 2 or 3 weeks before. Our event is 6 weeks away. We show up on the other event, it's 3 weeks away. And we understand your table in the hearing. I don't think this should have ever been brought up in the first place. If you look at the proposed budget, page 4 the proposed budget line item did not have the extra $225,000. It was only in the adopted budget. So this wasn't even brought up until the last 2 weeks. So, I mean, I know you had to fill a budget shortfall because of fiscal mismanagement. And it's not on the organization. We go with that, we've been doing these events for 20 years. Overtime costs and everything the city, and we appreciate everything the city does. Overtime costs have gone up. We've worked with the city. Back in 2011, we shortened the parade. We wanted the festival to end at 5, so you had the streets open, clean before dark, for safety purposes, and we were told to reduce overtime. We had to adapt. We had to change our business model to make the same amount of money. We think the city really needs to do that. We're challenging the city council and the acting city manager to talk to the departments. These events are the same days for 20 years. They're on the calendar. the first Saturday in October, the Saturday after Labor Day, and Super Bowl Sunday. So you can schedule where you don't need excessive overtime. The first week in October, I think Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night are high crime rates, where you can reschedule and put people on that weekend. I really just think, the organizations, this is all done by volunteers. We all do this, we've all done this, I'm on the board, we've all served many a time. We try to help people, we're benefiting the community, Long Beach Catholic, the churches, anybody who needs help. So I really think, you haven't hired a city manager, you haven't hired a controller, that's $70,000 for the first 2 fiscal months. Put that towards the 225, and let's get rid of this year.
Vote it now!
Jeremy Cecil. Jeremy Cecil. Good evening.
Billy hit a lot of my points. I am Jeremy Cecil of Long Beach and the West End. I'm also the vendor chairman for the company, so I'm in charge of kind of setting up all the vending that go on. So as you can imagine, I'm in quite a pickle right now because I have nothing to say to these guys as far as confirmation goes. This is even going to happen. So do they send money? Do they not send money? I speak daily with these vendors, through email, through phone, and they all hear what's going on here. So what I need is, what do I tell them? Can you tell me that the Irish Day, St. Brendan Day, is going to happen this year? Can I confirm to the vendor that this is going to happen?
I have no reason to believe that we're not having St. Brendan's and Navigators Irish Day this year.
That's all I need to know. Thank you.
Permits have been applied for, right?
Yes, we haven't heard that. We haven't heard? Or counseling?
Vote it now!
The check was cashed in July.
Vote chamber.
Vote it now!
Vote it now.
Good evening.
I just want to say that I heard, years, and I speak to people, they say that it's expensive to live here, everything, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, it's expensive anywhere, it can be expensive in San Diego. I know people in New Jersey who move to.
Can you talk louder?
I know people in New Jersey who move to Pennsylvania because taxes are high, et cetera, et cetera. So what I can just say simply is, a lot of people are complaining that, if things are high and everything, and then people go to this place, they have to, so mortgage is going to be ghost, I'm coming here. Like, we're different friends, I enjoy coming here, I'm very happy when we here. I go to a lot of programs, concerts, et cetera, and so just, my foot doctor said that she used to live in Nassau County, she said that Suffolk County was much cheaper, she went there. The guy I spoke to today, on a baseball meeting, a sports association we have here every month or so, said that also that Suffolk County is the taxes are a little less than everything, So basically, you just have to make things affordable, I guess. I don't know, I'm not, really because of money. I guess it comes to rent prices in supermarkets, or transportation costs, even if I want to go play in Chicago there and everything, I don't know, spend, I'm gonna do it anyway, but I'm saying, so just, make it, I guess, affordable, so, Long Beach doesn't become a ghost town or a ghost beach, like I'll come here and I'll see it's like, and that movie Judge and Nuremberg, the same place in 1948. Everything bombed out, at the people, at the window, that's just coming in, so, where is everybody, what I'm saying? Because I heard 30 years ago, maybe it's not a Long Beach problem, it could be a nice problem, but where is Long Beach, in New Zealand, what I'm saying? But the thing is, if people complain, and there are people who complain about everything. I mean, this woman went to my drugstore, and my pharmacist, we love very much, she was in tears, because the woman was complaining that she couldn't give it because she wasn't covered. So she did it all for free, and then she's still complaining, so people will always complain, even if you give, something for nothing. But the bottom line is, I'm saying this, is that when I hear people complaining about Long Beach and the county, that it's cost of living, then people are not willing to take off, just like if you can't afford to go to a movie or ball game, the stadiums and movie theaters are empty. So that's my thing, just make Long Beach affordable, and God bless Long Beach, and like I said, I'm out to be a visitor.
and God bless the people of Long Beach.
All in favor? Good evening, Mona.
Good evening. Mona Goodman, Long Beach, but lately I feel like I live in Amity, right after the movie Jaws. Listen, I understand 7 of the last 10 weekends have been rainy, and that's bad for us. We're not doing rain dances. But I think it was very irresponsible of us to allow people to go swimming when all the other South Shore beaches on the Barrier Island were closed out of concern for residents. Last thing I want to do is find a hypodermic needle or some disgusting refuse as I'm walking along the beach. Children shouldn't be exposed to that. Nobody should be exposed to that, and I think that's a failure on your part. Because the truth of the matter is, if God forbid something had happened, and the city is self-insured, it's just going to be another cost. And I don't want to diminish what all of the other speakers have been talking about, because those are all very important topics as well. But I have to tell you that walking around the city, and God, I hope you guys do walk around also, not just travel by car. The streets smell, the sidewalks smell, and it's not just Park Avenue.
It's North Park, please tell me.
It's,
They steal my flowers in front of my store.
okay then, thank you, I'm at the podium, you'll have to
Right
wait.
across the street.
It's not just Park Avenue, it's Broadway, it's every street. The city used to have a program where the streets were power washed, or I seem to remember that. You know, it can't hurt, and I'm not at all referring to following a sanitation truck. If you follow too closely, oh my God, the stench is unbelievable. Do we wash the trucks?
No.
We would hope they get washed. And lastly, and I know if you're gonna think, gee, she has nothing better to talk about, it irritates the bejesus out of me that we're wasting water in the fountains. Maybe you wanna have the fountain run on Saturday and Sunday in City Hall Plaza. Terrific, but we're wasting a lot of water. And I just don't see the point. We have to start looking at every single thing, or else it's going to be, I understand I'm wrapping up, or else it's going to be every year another double-digit tax increase, and we can't afford it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Goodman. Ronald McTenney? Henry? Sorry.
Good afternoon. I know I'm on time restraints. So much to talk about, and so happy to be here on this evening. But to get straight to it, in the West End, a kid was arrested, 22 years old, and the community has a lot of questions about it. So the first question is, was the community crisis team alerted and notified? No. Was the organization community response team notified? No, neither. Okay. Be it that there are a lot of questions, as parents are concerned. Some are saying that he did, some say that the video. So the community is usually notified, and it kind of like what's going on. To move right along, I have a question for the council. It's concerning the comprehensive plan. I know we've had about 15 or more meetings, and I just have a question. Is the council in support of the plan, even though the neighboring community affected by it is afraid? Council, where are we concerning the plan? And concerning gentrification and removal of its citizens. So, the question is, what does the council feel about the comprehensive plan? Where are we at with that?
It's been on hold since the beginning of the year.
It's going to go on hold for the next 5 more years?
I can't speak to that.
All right, because sometimes things just pop up, and we just want to. So that is to lead into the fact that during the meeting, we spoke with Patty Bourne, and she spoke with North Park on behalf of also the council, and said that she would work with the council in order to create minority businesses, due to the fact that minority businesses were moved in the past gentrification projects, and also how the city does not meet the state requirement of minority businesses. So out of these meetings, I was at a part of one of them, a business called Brown Sugar came up, and a grant was created and the money was allocated. For some reason, I being one of the members of Brown Sugar, the money has been taken away from us and is now up in the air for anybody to grab it. So I just want to know what's going to be done with that grant money, what can be practically done, being that the grant money was for the community to be able to create a business so they could afford the rising taxes here in Long Beach.
My understanding of that money is that one, it wasn't a grant, that it was a loan and it's through Nassau County, I thought. Is that right? That's correct.
And so because I have a letter that says it's a grant, and you're saying it's a loan.
I'm saying that money was a loan, yes.
So a letter says grant, and you're saying loan, okay.
That's my understanding.
Would I be able to get that paperwork at any of the offices?
I'm sorry?
But do you guys have that paperwork? Maybe I can get, who would I speak to?
Mark
Get that
Moore.
Mark
Speak to
Moore.
Mark.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I just looking to do the right thing, looking to know what's going on with the community, especially when it comes to situations with people from the community, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
On that incident that you're referring to, there was a group that was, a large group in the West End that was acting up. The whole group dispersed except that one individual who was arrested for disorderly conduct, which is a violation, certainly didn't warrant the involvement of the North Park Crisis Intervention Team. It was a very low-level incident. There was no violence. It was just a kid that wouldn't get out of the street.
Is he still detained? I don't know. Okay, all right. I guess we're just looking for more transparency and communication, being that we do have a crisis team that tries to be intermediate to the community and the police.
We made 700 arrests a year. I couldn't burden them.
Okay, all right.
So I just need to know this for clarification, and if you can speak to this, because I know you have a long-standing relationship with the crisis team. What is the process in terms of criteria that will allow the crisis team to be notified of events as they occur?
There really is not a mechanism to notify them as the event is occurring. It's more, to give you a perfect example, an event occurred that crisis team members were present at, and they helped diffuse the situation. So a lot of what the crisis team does is dispel misinformation. That's what they do for me. So I get calls from them, when they hear about something in the neighborhood, I find out the facts, and then give it to them to disseminate through the neighborhood.
Right, so in other words, when after an event occurs, for example, you may recall back in 2016 when we talked about the shot spotter. During that period of time, we heard a lot of things, and obviously we were in direct communication with the crisis team. So outside of that, if an event, unfortunate event happens, let's say in the North Park area, would these individuals, the members of this team, would they still be notified after the fact? Obviously, you can't do it while the issue is in process, but is there an email that goes out to you, I guess by phone, to contact the president of this group? How is the communication?
No, the crisis team has set up a schedule that's given to the desk officer to call when an incident would happen. Unfortunately, that hasn't been updated due to, the crisis team I haven't met all this year due to my double duty. And so that isn't up to speed, but I will look into it.
Okay, and then the last question is, CART, can anyone speak to CART? Can you speak to CART You just said community
Well,
action.
I was asking if there were two, crisis teams, I'm not part of, no, is it just one crisis team that you usually speak to?
Yes.
Yes,
There is a North Park committee, I don't know the exact.
And you just haven't had time to communicate with them due to your schedule?
No, we normally hold meetings every Thursday, we have to hold those meetings. As far as this is, have not. As far as this incident goes, it would never rise to the level of a crisis team.
Okay, thank you very much.
The crisis team is mostly in place for, if an arrest is made in North Park, and there's the witness, alleged witnesses go back and fabricate that it was a much more violent issue or whatever, and then there's a group that comes to City Hall to demand to see the prisoner at all, that we have this group that we vetted out, they would come in, and it has happened, they would observe that the subject wasn't assaulted or hurt, that he was being processed properly. Matter of fact, they even encourage, if they're at the scene, to cooperate with the police, because tomorrow when you go to court, you can be vindicated. And then, if there's a crowd that forms outside the police station, they go outside and they explain to them, hold it, what you heard is not true. We went in, we saw it, very independent, and that's really done a lot to foster a good relationship between the North Park community and the police department.
I understand, it's just that, like you said, it has been all year, I'm gonna talk to some of the leaders, I don't know why that communication isn't as strong as it was in the past, I know you're busy, but it's time out, I don't know. Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, that's it for this evening. I thank everyone for coming. Please get home safe.